Hello, 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 welcome. Yeah, the coffee is needed, right? Welcome, Lorboy. How are you? Is it going good so far? I hope everything is a little bit more settled already for you now. Good. I kind of hard to stick to the schedule, not gonna lie. Not because I'm too busy or something like that, but sometimes I just don't feel like streaming and then I want to do something with my fiance, for example. So I need to be a little bit more strict on that side. Well, if I have a schedule, then I should stick to it. But otherwise, besides that, doing good. And yeah, this month, so October and November, we will be streaming every Monday during the day. Because I have basically taken off every Monday for the next 2 months. So we will have hopefully full working days on the on the engine on Mondays. But let's see if that actually happens. I mean, let's see how much we get done, I wanted to say. Alright, so that works. I wanted to test something quickly because I did some change offline. Oh, okay, the normal is wrong. Okay. So let's fix that. I think it's just that going away again. And we need to redo the shaders again. And then I want to show something that I did on Friday during... So at work we have like every first of the month, every first Friday of the month, we're more or less allowed to work on whatever we want. It's like a game jam kind of thing, but you can use it to kind of do whatever. I mean, it has to be a little bit technically, I would say, but in theory I could as well just say I want to read a book and that's it. And I did something that I want to share a little bit, what I did. I did share it on Discord, but I want to show it maybe quickly, and then that's something that's planned for 0.5 basically. Which should make it a little bit easier to do stuff on the engine, like in terms of gameplay. Okay, so that works. Cool. So didn't break anything. So what I did is, let me go here. So basically what I tried is the code generation. So currently what you have to do, for example, for the sphere component, we did that, right? So we wanted to add a sphere component to the ECS. What we had to do is create the file, create this struct, write out everything we want here, write like this boilerplate, then a serialization function. We needed to create the CPP with all the serialization code, and then we needed to create this editor file as well, where we draw it in the property grid, right? And all of that, like those 3 files, just so that we can do, if we have a sphere, that we see here this. And we can save it and load it from the scene file, etc. So all of that boilerplate, more or less just for that, and like that we have the ECS component that we can do it, like use it in the ECS. And then on top of that, it's as well needed that volume system, volume module. We need to, here, we need to register the component, right? So those 4 places we need to do just to create a new component. So what I did is, do I have it? No, it's not here. It's here. So the theory would be, that's the camera component, but the same applies, that you create in your project directory in the folder that you want. So basically it will live next to the H files, the normal header files. You will have a .com file, maybe the extension changes, and you just write your component like that. Basically like a struct, you just leave out the struct keyword here. It's not needed. And then you can write whatever property you want here. You can do it like that, and you could do vector3f, position, and stuff like that, right? And then a Python script runs over that with libclang imported, and it will generate those files basically. So it's generating this, this, and this. And if I open those, you will see that that already worked. So it auto-generated the header like that. And then it auto-generated the CPP like that. And as you can see, it only generated the is primary because the camera was marked as transient, so it's not saved. And now we have here the editor code for drawing it. This, ignore that comp here. I didn't do the include yet. But yeah, so basically you would only need to write your data definition like that. Exactly, yes. So you just write the data that you want in your component, the name of the component, and then you hit build in Visual Studio and it will generate the files for you. That's the plan. In a pre-built step. And it's basically already kind of working, right? It's not finished. So I will finish that off in 0.5 after the terrain, but the first step is already working. And you can have like attributes for the components as well as for the attributes fields, basically. Sorry, or members. So if the camera component here, for example, is marked as hidden and transient, you can see that in the header, in the generated one, it generated like those two static const express, which are used by the component factory and the editor. And then we as well, just for clarity, put the attributes here. For whatever attributes were used. So that's the idea. But there needs to be some debug, some additional checking, because a min of 0 on a bool, for example, doesn't make sense. So this should be kind of a warning in the generator that it's ignored. Because you cannot have a min or max for a boolean, or it doesn't make any like logical sense. So as you can see, it's not finished, but that's the idea. Alright, but for today, I want to stick to the terrain stuff. And the first thing we do... it's not that complicated. So I want to add a new file here, ellipsis. Is that how you should write an ellipsis in English? I have no idea. No, ellipses are the 3 dots. Is it ellipsoid? It's, I think, ellipsoid, right? Yeah. And I think we can kind of take the cube part, because it's by the, like, for the data it's very... That's good. That's nice to hear. Ellipsoid. Then vec3. I mean, it's just wired radii. Is it like that? What's the plural of radius? Plural of radius. Radii, yeah. I guess. It just looks weird. I mean, I kind of knew it, but it looks weird. But yeah, whatever. So position, and then radii. Unpack CSG ellipsoid. We could actually make that a little different. How about we do actually this? And we take an out. Like that, because then we can have them overloaded. Maybe I like that better. Let's do that, just for the sake of it, that it looks nicer, right? And then out ellipsoid. Unpack CSG. And pack CSG source. And then all of that goes away. We don't need that. And then I have a beautiful function here. Again, I can only recommend I forget always his name. What is his full name? Inigo Quiles. He's like doing a lot of sign distance field functions, and in general he has like some good articles about rendering. But he already, so I didn't come up with all of, like, I mean the sphere is easy, but the ellipsoid I didn't come up with myself. So basically we take that, write that here, and then this is our length of vec3 difference is our vert position minus our cube dot position. Well, actually not cube, right? So that's that. And then vec, well, that's actually our ellipsoid radii, and vec3 radii squared. Is that. And then here we return a vec4 of that, which is the this is like the approximated distance, because for ellipsoid you cannot get a complete exact distance, but it's close enough. And then k1 is our gradient, which we will rename. Well, actually k1 is that, but float vec3 gradient is this. And then here we take the length of that. And then we have here our gradient and here our thing. The only thing we need to do is it's gradient divided by k1, right? Wait, no. So that's the length. Yeah, no, we want to divide by the k1, right? To normalize. Normalize is dividing by the length, right? Am I now mental? No, should be right. Normalize. Yes, by the inverse of the length. Perfect. So that's that. Perfect. Then we go here. We add a new source. Ellipsoid. And we go here. CSG ellipsoid. Unpack CSG source. Get value and gradient of that. And we need to include our ellipsoid here. And then the only other question is, do we need to do something here? Probably. No, not here, in the preview. Where is our preview? And yeah, then that, and the brush size, it's already a Vec 3, right? Yeah, perfect. Oh, that's nice, yeah. I mean, that's good. So you have that as well. I thought you were doing something more art related, but you still have math and physics? I mean, it's good to have, right? But interesting. Oh, shoot. Alright, let's then adjust the terrain panel. So here we have the ellipsoid already. So it's sphere, cube, ellipsoid, which is fine because I think that's what we have there as well, right? In that order. Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Nice. Hey, what's up? What's up? We are looking at adding a new shape, and then we will do probably a little bit of input actions to make the editor nicer for the terrain. And yeah, tomorrow we will look at the last big missing piece for the terrain, which is currently we update the whole terrain. I mean, it's very fast, but realistically we only want to update the area around the change. So we will tackle that tomorrow, where we have like more time. I mean, technically we have almost the same amount of time today, but yeah. All right, do I already show that? No. So we do another one here. And then render properties, if we are... I mean, basically it's the same thing, right? If we are a cube or an ellipsoid, we... I mean... maybe not. Maybe really render it in a different property, just because radii. So that one will be an ellipsis now, or an ellipsoid is the English name, it seems like. In German it's called ellipsis. I think, at least. Don't quote me on that. Sometimes I forget German already. What? Can I please? Oh, here. position unknown swizzle in 30. Okay. In 30. Why? Oh. I'm stupid. The word position is already a vec 3. Sorry for that. Alright, yeah, we need to look at that eventually as well. That's like very annoying. So we have an ellipsoid, and if we do 10, 10, 10, it should be not a crash, but it's a crash. Are we still... Yeah, okay. Alright, what could that be? Oh, maybe we are not... Yeah, maybe we are not saving it correct. That might be... create here, right? We need to create it here as well. Ellipsoid. No, not this one, sorry. This one. CSG source. I hope that's everything. Oh, yeah, of course. Maybe I actually moved those all to the CS. I will restart. I could start the scene editor from there, but pack CSG source. Isn't it pack CSG source? It's the other. It's like that and then like that. Did we do that correctly in the... Okay, here we did it correct. So that works. $58. But why? Can you tell me? Pack CSG source. Should be exactly that. Oh, because I can't type, that's why. Did I mistype that in all the other ones as well? Oh no, because... Yeah, okay, no, I didn't, because I didn't write it. Alright, cool. So we have that. Probably best to regenerate all the shaders. Just to be safe. Alright. God damn it. Duplicated case value in 76 in test SDF. Okay. Did I scuff something? Ah, because of course. That's a unfortunate thing. 5, 6, and then we need to change that in the terrain panel as well, just to be sure and safe on that front. But yeah, that's not really the best way of doing that. Where is it here? I think to a 5, right? Yeah. Should be fine. Should compile now. Famous last words. Okay, yeah. And now we can do a sphere here. Perfect. We can do a cube, which is ugly, but it's there. It's mostly because the resolution is that bad there. And then we can do an ellipsoid, and let's do 20 into X and 40 into Y. And maybe 25 or 25 into that direction, and then we can put that here, and we have our ellipsoid here. Perfect. Not sure why it's... Damn it. Not what I wanted. Yeah. But basically we have now an ellipsis, so we can make it like super like not so high as well, which is perfect. And we should be able to do a minus as well. Yeah. Nice. Cool. Ellipsis is working. That was rather simple. So yeah, the terrain panel, it would be nice to be able to control the brush size with the mouse wheel. So currently if you scroll, you make the mouse go fast, the camera go faster or slower, which is okay. But I would want that if I have control down or shift, it doesn't matter, and I mouse wheel, then it makes the brush smaller or bigger. But my input system currently doesn't really support that very well. So that's the next thing we need to look at. So currently each input binding... Yeah, my viewport has a scroll bar. That's because that's another issue that I hope maybe it comes on the list for fixing it. In 0.5 I want to do like bug fixing and polishing. The viewport currently is the size, like the texture that we render to is the size of the actual window and not of the viewport window. So that's why if you move with a camera, it always looks like you're not moving to where you are looking, because the center is somewhere here, right? Because the view should be something like basically that, right? Ah, god damn it. So that's like closer to the reality. And now you can see that you're moving actually to the center. It's not too complicated. It's just that I need to make... Currently my whole swap chain... Or currently my render graph takes all its render sizes from the swap chain. The swap chain is the size of the window. I need to decouple that so that I can give it a different size than the swap chain size, basically. So I need to decouple the present/swap chain image from the image we render to. I mean, they already rendered to a separate texture, but yeah, the sizes are kind of intertwined. Shouldn't be too hard, but yeah, it's a little bit of work. Because basically it goes down to, I think, render graph. Is it serializer? I don't know. No, probably not render graph actually. I think just there. And when we create the resources. Yeah, basically here, right? If it doesn't have a size defined, it currently falls back to the swap chain size. And all of the full screen shaders, they don't have a size. So they always fall back to the swap chain, but that should not be the swap chain, that should be this line should go to the viewport, not to the swap chain. So that shouldn't get the swap chain extents, it should get the viewport extents. I think it's mostly that. But yeah, then I need to still be able to define that something is the swap chain extends, because the final image still should go to the swap chain, right? So yeah, there's a smaller work to do there, but not like something drastic. So yeah. Alright, so input stuff. We have the input action. And we have input bindings. And I wanted to have... How did I want to do that? I think I wanted to add... I think I wanted to add an input binding group. So basically a struct input binding group. That is input binding group. Reset is fine. Get type ID. Get input binding slots. Oh, that's a little bit problematic maybe. Where do we use that? Oh, here. That's fair. How about that is actually just let's try that. That is just a wrapper. So we do this, this, this. And then we do get name, that's fine. And then private dynamic array of unique pointer, input binding. Bindings like that. And then we as well have an update binding here. More or less. Let's see. And then generate the definitions. For each... Why is my monitor... Weird. Const unique pointer of input binding. Like that. Then we do this. S32 count. If index, is it that? Yeah. So if our index is greater or equals to binding, get binding slot count, then we continue. Where? How do I do that? Sorry, so we do count equal plus equals binding that, right? And if our index is greater or equals than that, then we do, well, actually then we do index minus equals. So let's do that. Onyx S32 binding count or slot count. Get bound input for slot index. I mean, it should be that, but maybe we need to change that. Set input bindings, basically the same. Just that we don't need a return. Index input value, and then here yeah, but see, why is that, and why would that be? That doesn't really make sense. Ah, because it's the bound input. That's why. Okay. Kinda makes sense. I guess we could then cast that to a U32. And then we have here the index and that, and we do still continue with that. Now we do set input binding slot for the index to the input value. All of that, and then input binding. We basically do... where do we do that? Yeah, something like... oh, we get a context. See, that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So what we should do is for each binding in our bindings, we get bool is triggered. We get the context, maybe? Something like that. Then return is triggered basically like that. Let's see if that works. And we need input action settings window. We need a couple of more things here, right? Because somewhere we need to render that. Not that. Action get bindings. Render bindings. How is that working? Where is that? Is it just like that? So what we want to do is input where do we register those? Want to input binding group. Let's do bool, it doesn't really matter. Group. What is the name used for? garbage, alright. Don't need that actually, but we will do it for now. So let's see how that works. We probably can add the group, but it will be empty for most likely. Open. So for example, yeah, here, add group, and then it doesn't do anything. Oh, because we are not showing anything here. That makes sense, yes. So input action settings window. If our binding get type ID is a input binding group type ID, then we need to do something different. As we do basically that. I think the bindings. Maybe we do that already before. Action get bindings. Okay, no. Yeah, here and then here. And we move all of that in here. And if it's a group, we do something else, which is... Let's just do that for now. Let's see what that does. That's not what I wanted, god damn it. This, and then here, and we add a group, and then we have a group. Perfect. So we call that a binding group for now. And they can only be on the top level. We don't allow them to be nested. And then this one. Yeah, this one up to here. We extract. Render binding. Binding index. Why do we need the binding index? Oh, okay. No. Ah, okay. Oh, yeah, we need that. Okay. Makes... I think makes sense. What do we need that for? I Whatever, future me. Alright, so render bindings, we go here, and then for each group or binding, child bindings in, we need to then cast this here. So basically our input binding group get bindings. Reference. And then we render that with the binding index probably adding to it. That one is a little bit, yeah, I'm not quite sure yet. That should be fine, right? Ah, it's const, we got non-const, of course. And then we need to add another thing, which is not render binding, but okay, maybe not here. Render input actions. No, not that. Not that. Yes, this. It's basically custom header. Yeah. Kinda like that. Probably need to make this nicer. God damn it, where is render bindings? It's here. God damn it. Is this render binding? No. Whatever. So that's that, and then this is the custom header. Don't need that. Yeah, we need the type here then. Okay. So that we can do this, and then we don't do this, we do binding group, get bindings in place. Well, more or less, might work. Alright, let's see where that brings us. So the plan is that we can create a binding group, and on that binding group we are allowed to add new bindings basically. And that way we can group them together and they have to trigger R for the action to be valid, right? So that, and then... oh, that didn't work. Do I need to do more than that? Is it not context menu header? Is it? No, it is. Okay. Is that maybe not triggering? Or no, that is triggering because otherwise we wouldn't see it. So we're definitely here. But for some reason we're not. Triggering our 3-node flag. What else do we have? Base flags available with... okay. What is the walls open? Hmm. Maybe that doesn't work. Imgui get item ID. Wrong. I always go to the scene editor by... Okay. No, that doesn't work. Why does that not work? Where is the custom header? Here. But hold on, that should be then card. So this is card. Hold on. This is then something different, right? Pop up. Again. Mistakes were made. Yeah. So that is card, but this begin pop-up is not card. How does this work on the other one? What the hell? Begin pop-up. I am so confused. Is that just working because of the rename thing? Hold on, the rename, is it an input field? Draw rename input. Is that really just because of that? Let me try something. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but is it only working because of that? Ah, no, god damn it. Always. Oh, it is. Fascinating. Okay, and then we have this. Perfect. Alright. That explains it a little bit. Think that should do it, right? I hope it does. I think that intends it perfectly fine. And then if imgui maybe that works. Again, god damn it. Always going to the wrong one. Alright. Input. Unfortunate. Okay, that doesn't work. Is that not how it should? A collapsible ID. No, but then that should be fine, right? Or not? Custom header. Oh, sad. Doesn't work. I mean, I guess we could do maybe that. That might. Up, up, ID is group up. Maybe. Open. Oh my god. Is it not that? Invisible button input block. But I mean, that should be fun. I mean, maybe not. Maybe we need to do... Maybe I need to do that. But that's kind of ugly. But let's try. Oh, god damn it, I fricked that again. God damn it. That is very annoying, not gonna lie. I think it's just a pure coincidence that this works up here. Let's do just is mouse clicked, and we don't really care for that for now. And we do open pop-up. That's the very ugly way, because I think it now triggers all the time, regardless of where we are. God damn it. But for setting up the thing, it doesn't really matter. Okay, it doesn't even work here, what? How is that not happening? What? What the hell? Okay, can we not do run that? I mean, that should trigger, right? Damn it. Or did I break something and I somehow, I mean... What the hell? Is that somehow only in the window? No. It's very bizarre. What the actual hair? A GUI system. Okay, not that one. Where do we do the queued inputs? Okay, it's mouse button 1 and down is true, and mouse button 1 is right. What the hell? Damn it. Is any mouse down? I don't really care anymore. Alright, whatever. Mistakes were made. Okay, cool. So that works, and then we can... Yeah, of course, we have this garbage then. But that's fine. We will deal with that later. So we have that. We don't want to be able to add a group to a group. So basically, if binding type ID equals binding group type ID, then we continue. We do not allow nesting of groups. Alright, and then render action properties, we do that. Render selected binding properties. Render I guess if input binding selected binding is action, well, it's M yeah, something like that, right? So we do this, and then selected action get bindings at selected binding index. Yeah, exactly. Like that. If selected input binding get type ID equals input binding group type ID. I am playing a little bit of Neverwinter Nights, if you know that. It's a pretty old game, but I got it on Good Old Games. And I'm replaying it. It's like a game from 2002, I think. It's like a Baldur's Gate, but yeah, a little bit. Like Baldur's Gate 2, but a little bit newer, like 2002. But as well from BioWare. A Dungeons and Dragons role-playing game. Playing that currently. Or replaying it, because I played it 15-20 years ago. It's actually quite fascinating because it's actually looking pretty good for that it's 2002 or something like that. It's full 3D and it looks pretty decent still. I think it was 2002. Yeah, 2002. Pretty old. And you? Yeah, it's a little bit confusing. Dungeon Dragon games like Dungeon Dragons Rule Set has that, right? But it's a pretty good game, I would say. And it's like, I mean, the predecessor from Dragon Age, so if you played Dragon Age, and enjoyed that, I would say you would enjoy Neverwinter as well. It's pretty nice. Oh, okay. I mean, that's pretty old as well. When was Silent Hill? It's well pretty old, right? Yeah, 2006. Unless you play a newer one, but I mean, even then. Not sure. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Ah, okay. Cool. Alright, if that is the case, then we draw an enum property. But we don't do that because we don't have a property grid. So we just draw an imgui combo box, begin combo. Alright, let's do a text label for now. Text. Or doesn't really matter. And then airs, we do that. But the selected binding index, we need to do a little bit more than. Set if a group is selected. So basically we need to change that a little bit. For old game I play 2-2 from time to time. Can't beat the game. Yeah, that's true. There's a new season right in D2R. I don't know if you have the resurrected one. I have it as well. And I played it a little bit. Didn't start the new season yet. Oh, okay. Didn't know that. But yeah, I play Diablo as well from time to time. Not that much lately, to be honest, but yeah. How about we just do... Well, what if we just don't do that? Maybe we... Set if a group is selected. Maybe we do that. I don't know. Now we do the group. Wherever we have that. Is that? Yeah, here. This one, binding index, is our sub index basically. Or maybe we just do a flat one. Maybe we do a flat list, I don't know. I think I will deal with that later, but yeah, I think probably it makes either sense to do a flat list of bindings for this window, because we don't really care about the order. That might actually be the cleanest one. Okay, and then we can add a bool. And that's about it. Then we can add another bool, and then we have two of the same, but that doesn't really matter. Now we cannot add bindings because, yeah. Okay, so let's do that actually. So when we do the binding... when we... flat. On... Not here, where is it? Let's do a dynamic array of input binding list flat binding list. Something like that, and when we do load that one, clear, and then for each god damn it. Okay, I can't type. Binding in editable copy get bindings. Okay, maybe not. Or let's actually selected flat binding index. This index is a flat index into the bindings array actions and groups. All right, m selected flat. All right, then this one is that. That one is here. That one is here. That one is here. That one is that. That. And then here that is not correct. That one is for each select, well, auto binding in selected action bindings. If binding get I see that's a problem. No, not really. I think I will go a little bit longer. Probably until 6. Something like that. Maybe we... Hmm. Maybe I do that. And then we have sub index here. Let's do that. I don't know. Selected index. See, but that's the problem. God damn it. I hate that. I think I need to rethink that window a little bit. Because it doesn't really work anymore than with selected binding index and blah blah blah. And like... this doesn't really work. The thing is, how does the selection work currently? So we select that, we select that. Yeah, okay. So it's probably still kind of the same. Just that the selected binding index is different. But I mean, wait. Ah, that's on the input event. Okay, that's fine. Okay, let me think. So we do the render input action, right? That one goes through all its bindings and renders those. And then we go through that. We check if we are an input binding group, basically. If we are, we go through our subtypes, binding, U32 group bindings count is a binding group get bindings size. And then we render binding index or group binding index. And let's write auto and then do the type. You know what? We do it completely different actually. Or do we do that? No, let's do the sub index, group binding index. So is selected is this. If it's, well, if that. You know what? No, let's not do that. Do we need that binding index? Okay. What is this show bindings? It's always true? No, here it's false. And it's false if... Ah, okay. What? Ah, wait. Ah. Wait, do I even need to do anything then? Wait, maybe I don't need to do anything. Maybe that just works out of the box. Maybe I just need to do... God damn it. This. And then I just don't do that. I'm just rendering the group binding. Or we need the custom header potentially, but let's disregard that for now. Disregard that. And we just do selected binding index for binding index. That. Well, actually, yeah, do maybe that. still. Like that. Let's format that a little bit at least. Is that working? Did I already make something that like kind of deals with the grouped index, because we have the composite nodes, right? So potentially it works. Oh, but it doesn't work. It might work, but it's not really, right? It might. Yeah. It kind of works until it doesn't. It kind of works. It works because when we do the render binding, we check if we have like more than one. And if we have more than one, we do a collapsible header. But that fails as soon as we have... Wait, I can actually do that, right? I can repro it. I think it fails if I do... Or it fails to visualize nicely as soon as we have... Yeah, this, for example. So if I add a... Oh, I cannot do that actually currently. Never mind. Because we didn't register that. If I do an axis 3D group, does that work? Oh, that breaks, alright. Because we have the binding type ID already, yeah. Makes sense. Let's then for now do only the action. Oh, sorry. For that one. I think we need to decouple the group from, yeah, the type. God damn it. Every time. So now if I do that, if I add a group here and then I add an axis 3D composite, then yeah, then it kind of breaks, you can see. Because if I do then that again, we have those, and they're not grouped like that, which I would want to have them grouped like that. Well. Alright. So yeah, that doesn't really work. Unless we actually do... We render that. And do the check here, right? No, that's the same thing. That basically results in the same... Why not Yeah, the window is not really built for that. Basically, we would need to car render binding in here again. Something along those lines. At which point I'm thinking, why are we even doing it like that? Maybe it would have always been better to do input binding pointer and select binding, right? And then this is a null pointer. Binding get. But even that... No, that doesn't really solve the issue, right? No, I think I need to rethink the window. That's about it. I think I can't do it hacky like that. I think I need to re-evaluate how I want to do the window. It probably has to handle the sub index properly. So basically we need to do it here properly. Render the group and then render the bindings of the groups. Because if we do that, it's pretty much fine, right? So if we do here for each, or we do the context menu header. Don't care about that. That would be group for now. Don't really care about any of that. And this. For each const auto binding in binding group. That's it, yeah. Because I think that will work for the 3D axis case. Group binding. And then here, file open. And if I add a group here, and then I add a composite. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not indented because I forgot that, but yeah. And that's nice and works perfect. That would be a scoped indent. Perfect. Exactly what I wanted. Again. Did it again. So if I do that, add a group, and then I add a composite, then it works, yeah. Cool. That works. Now the other question is... how do I do that with the context though? Because the action type is one thing. And the input binding is one thing. Or maybe that doesn't even work how I would want it to work. Maybe that was garbage anyways. Hold on. Because an input access an input binding bool and an input binding this is not compatible, right? So we would not be allowed to add that. Maybe that was garbage anyways. Was a nice idea, but maybe that's not how it should work. Maybe. So in Unity they do it like different, right? But how do they do it in Unreal actually? Unreal input modifier. Okay. That's not really what I wanted. Enhanced input key with modifier, okay. How does that work? Modifier? Is that really? Was I blind when I tried that? I guess I was blind because I thought to have tried that, but I couldn't. How does that work? Input action and input mapping context. So that's a bool, and now we have triggers. Okay. Ah, okay. So I guess yeah, that is actually what it's right. Yeah, I see. That's a little bit complicated, not gonna lie. So maybe that's not it. Hmm. So the thing is, we don't really need the binding context, right? I mean, kinda do, because we write the value in there. But technically we don't need that. I'll be right back, I need to get some water. Alright. I'm not quite sure how I want to solve that. I thought I had a good idea with the group. But the problem with the group is the binding context, which is the thing we use to get the type of input out. So maybe the bindings itself have a modifier. Or we go the Unity way, which is We have a predefined binding with modifier. Because yeah, it would be an axis 1D with the modifier, right? Because we want control plus the mouse wheel. But in Unreal, that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. How does that work? Because while I do understand that, how does that work with the modifier key trigger? Okay, how about... I see, but that is interesting. So they have this plus that. So actually they have it like that. So maybe we do that. Fuck this input binding here. While EU32 here. Well, actually, it's a dynamic list of modifiers, right? Then we do well, not virtual, actually, void and a set modifier. To input value. And we set the modifier, well, and we remove modifier at the index. And we add the modifier at the index, right? Well, we add a modifier just like that. We can have an input value here. Where modifiers pushback input value. Erase at or remove at. Okay. Is there an std remove at? Nah. Hello, Captain Chica. M modifiers dot while add index to input value. Alright, and we do that here as well. Index is that, then we do the index for this is out of range, perfect. And then we get rid of this input binding group, we don't need that anymore. Which makes this a whole lot easier. Yeah, you too. Maybe, yeah, we see each other during the week. As I said, I will stream tomorrow during the day. Probably I will start at 1 o'clock or something like that. Latest the same time as today, so 2:30. But yeah, have a great start yourself into the week, and yeah. Ah, okay. There. Input binding. Or maybe we do bool validate modifier, or like verify modifiers. And then we do basically something like that. If we are the mouse type, for each modifier in our M modifiers, we switch. And if the button is not down, then we return false. Actually, the modifier need to be more than that. Probably a U32 well, input and a well input type. The input type is hopefully a U8. Okay, so that is 8 size, and then this is pretty much the same, but we order it like that, so it's a little bit more optimized. Well, not really, but input type. Well, not input modifier. We add an input modifier here. We remove a modifier and we set a modifier to basically the same thing, but maybe we take an input type. I don't know. Modifier. That is fine, and then here input type. Okay. Oh, it's the other way around, right? So then that works, and then here we have input modifier. And then for the modifier type, we check if the modifier dot input is down. If it's not, we return false. Otherwise we break. And we kind of do the same for the other cases. And to gamepad. Otherwise, if all of them return true, we return true. Or our modifiers satisfied. Is that not what, how you write it? I think it is. And that is const. That is const. And then we can go to our input system. Can remove the group again. Here. Remove that. if that, then we do that. And then we can rake out of this loop. But before we do any of that, if oh no, we need to do that here, right? If binding verify or our modifier satisfied. Basically like that. And that's about that. And then we go here, remove that crap again. I mean, maybe that's fine like that. And then we go to the selected, exactly here. Or we basically have a modifier list here. How do I best do that? Probably something very similar to... Where is that? Is it in render graph editor? Here probably. Where is that? Wasn't it here? I thought it was here, but maybe not. Ah, no, here it is. Something like that, basically. So let's do UI property grid begin input action props. Let's do 80. I don't know what the split should be, but let's do 80. Then UI property grid end. And then we do this. And that is basically selected input binding get modifiers dot size capacity, it doesn't really matter, add modifier functor. That is always true. That is gone. In where? Selected input bindings. Add modifier like that. It doesn't really matter. All right. Um, did we have a crash? Yeah, I think we have one. Yeah, we had one. But we're not really working on shaders, so we were at the start. We were working on shaders, but now we are currently not. So that limits the amount of crashes I can have, right? Dynamic array input modifier. Where then if you return m modifiers and place back. Just like that. Who cares? I mean, probably we want one where we can. Do we even need that? We don't need that. Just to modify as it plays, right? And let's do selected input binding, get input type, and input is 0. And we don't do that, we don't do that, we don't do any of that crap. And then this is the modifier, and we say input but actually we probably will do a listen again. Or we don't need that actually. Yeah, we need to render. We could do a property grid for now. Draw string, I guess. Input. What the hell? That's never heard of that. I mean, I know what nut is, but I never heard of carrier grade nut. Need to look that up. I mean, I can kinda think, like, um, think what it would be about, but yeah. Oh, well, we still need to remove then that. Modify account, yeah, okay. Yeah, we will do a little bit more, but not too much. I think yeah, we are close to my limit today. So this one, and then oh, that doesn't really work. Ah, because we have it here. That's not what we wanted in that case. So probably this should go above that. Well, not necessarily, right? Because it is part of the binding actually. Or is it actually part of the binding? That's the question. It should already highlight. No, not necessarily actually. Never mind. Yeah, that's fine. But where is my plus button? Ah, here it is. It's hidden. Okay. But then the listen button is gone? Why? Oh, maybe we do the and then this. Maybe we do it after the property grid. I'm not sure. Ah, okay. That's interesting. I mean, I can see that, but I've never heard of that. But then again, I'm a little bit out of the loop with that. Why is there no listen button anymore? Oh, we do get here. Let's do a vertical group maybe. MGUI begin vertical props MGUI and vertical, because technically I want this. Actually I want it different, not gonna lie. Yeah, IP4 is, I mean, already doomed quite long. Huh. Where is my listen button? Oh, we do a the vertical group should be... Wait, are we doing it right? Where is my vertical group? Oh, we're not doing it correct. Never mind. That was wrong. I didn't want to do that. I might do a little bit of work on off stream on the UI of this window because I think I want to change the... I mean, it was not never finished anyways. Okay. I mean... Still not correct. Alright. Don't do that. Oh, wait. What? Picker. No, that should be fine. God damn it. Why am I keep doing that? No, I don't know where my listen button is. But it just somehow disappears. Which is very interesting. And then with this, it's completely gone. Everything. I think actually we might... Yeah, maybe I actually redo that whole window, the right side, the properties. Because if I get away with this again, if I just remove that, it's not very nice anyways, how it looks currently. What is that used for? Alright, let's not use it then, I guess. God damn it. Open this, and then if we do that, yeah, that's not really nice anyways. So yeah, I will change that. But I will do that off stream. It's a little bit of UI work, not really that interesting. So I will call it a day. Tomorrow we will be back. Tomorrow the plan is to look at the terrain again. So currently, as I already... Okay, that's an interesting ImGUI crash. Let's go here. So what we did today is we added a new shape, the ellipsoid, which is kind of nice. So we can do a 20. Let's do 5 or like 10. That's fine. 20, 20. And then we have like this flat shape here, which is, yeah, it's not a sphere anymore, right? It's a ellipsoid. So we can do that. So we... And yeah, here you can see that the Y is like different, right? X and Z is 20 and the Y is like... We can do that. So that's that. What I wanted to say is, yeah, tomorrow, as we generate here stuff, we regenerate the whole terrain, even here, even though we could only change like this area. So that will be something we do tomorrow. In theory, I already have everything for that. We just need to change the shaders and probably run into a couple of crashes along the way. So yeah, we will do that. Have a nice rest of your Sunday. As I said, I will be streaming tomorrow during the day, as I don't have any work, as I have a day off. So yeah, feel free to join. I will start latest at 2:30 like today, but probably earlier. Just have some lunch plans, but then I will be here. Thank you very much. Have a nice start into the week, and a good night to you, WhatsApp, as well. Bye bye.